She ran for the state Supreme Court in 2004 and lost. She's back running again. On the Wayne County Circuit Court bench for 14 years, Judge Deborah Thomas is seeking the Democratic nomination and the right to take on Republican incumbent Cliff Taylor. She holds a BA degree from Western Michigan, earned an MA, and got a law degree from Valparaiso. She's a former candidate for Detroit City Council, worked for the UAW and local agencies before her election to the court, the Circuit Court, in 1994. Your Honor, welcome to the program. First question.
Judge, you did get the nomination and have run once for this seat unsuccessfully. You weren't able to get the party to even give you the nomination in 2000. What do you think is the reason that you might be able to get it this year?
I think that if they look at a building process, a continuation of making myself acquainted with the voters, continuing to go around the state, it's a little bit less expensive to try to create name identification than to build on name identification. So I think they'll keep that in mind.
What do you think of Mark Brewer's attempts to change the court system?
Well, you know, the judges have these rules where we're not allowed to talk on things that order may come before us. I will say that it's an adventurous undertaking.
Adventurous is a politically correct word. You have some reservations. Marietta Robinson, who was also going to run for the court, was quite expressive on this. She thought it was a bad idea. Can you go that far?
She's an attorney. She's allowed more latitude. I have to be politically correct. I was not consulted on the matter. I have not been consulted on the matter. I think that there's a general perspective that most attorneys, people who work in the profession, take up these types of efforts, and I'm among the general population.
Most experts would agree that it's almost impossible to take out a sitting incumbent Supreme Court justice. Why do you think you can do it this time?
Well, for one thing, there's been more attention over the last several years being given to the actions and inactions that have been taking place on the Supreme Court. People are increasingly aware of decisions that have been made that have wide range impact on limiting access to the court, both in terms of having standing or the legal position to be able to come to the court, limiting damages, limiting the rights of citizens to file suit on environmental issues. And so there's more attention, for once, that's being paid to the court. There's been some negative of the majority of the court that have been expressed quite loudly over the last several years. On several of these rulings and some other activity, one of their own justices has spoken out about concerns about the activities in the court. So I think that that will be helpful. I think it will be helpful. I had good polling numbers with the Michigan Lawyers Weekly magazine. At one point I was at 86%. To my opponent's 14%.
Well, among the legal community.
No, it's not limited to the legal community. It's legal to anybody who's aware that they're polling and wants to go on the internet.
Well, do you think the Chief Justice is incompetent?
I think we have different philosophies. There's basically two different philosophies at any rate. There's basically either the Federalist position and interpretation, and then there's the Jefferson or Jeffersonian view, and that's been in place since they were forming the Constitution in the first place.
Do you think he's incompetent?
I would not go so far as to say that he is incompetent. I would go so far as to say that we differ greatly.
Has this judge, though, damaged the court? I mean, this majority, has this damaged the legal system in Michigan, them being in power these last 8 years?
We have one of the lowest ratings among those who review the state Supreme Courts throughout the United States. I believe we come in either 9th or 50 in terms of the overall opinion of the legal profession in this country.
Well, not among conservative groups, you know. This court's very highly regarded among conservative groups, the Wall Street Journal being one of them. It depends who you're asking.
Always.
Okay.
You've chided the court majority for knocking down some awards that were given by Wayne County juries that the Supreme Court said were excessive. And I think you've said that you think that juries have a right to send a message. You know,
I don't recall making either of those statements, but I do have a great deal of respect for the jury process and the role that they play. I was on the civil bench when initially elected. It was before merger of Recorder's Court. So I did sit in the division of the court, which would now be classified as the civil division. I don't recall during that time span ever setting aside a jury verdict. You always have some concerns that maybe the jury has gone just way overboard. But I give a great deal of deference. I've only to my recall in the 14 years that I've been on the circuit court ever set aside 2. I can only remember 2, and neither of those were in civil matters.